is disturbing these days with a very new concept of ongoing hatred for solo travelers, where it's being said that solo traveling is bullshit and it's all to gain media attention. Well, it may be because media is giving attention to all the people who travel solo and they want to make it sound cool and brave, and it is. But the question is still whether solo traveling is for you or it's not for you. You would ask yourself the same question that if you have a wife or a friend or a girlfriend, boyfriend, brother, sister, whoever who is willing to travel with you the same way you want to travel, why would you have to travel solo at all? Today we are going to discuss 5 different aspects which decide whether you should go for solo traveling or you should not. It's a matter of your choice. Don't listen to what the world says. It's just a matter of your choice. If you love traveling solo, these are the 5 different factors which will decide that whether it's right for you or not. So let's begin with starting with the first one. Personality. So personality is all about what kind of a person are you. Are you an introvert or an extrovert or a religious person or a historical person? Do you want to compromise on your comfort level when you're traveling solo, or would you want to, stay in a hostel and you'd be okay with it? Would you want to stay in a 5-star hotel, or would you like compromising and staying in someplace else? Would you love camping? Do you love trekking? These are the choices which make you decide if at all traveling the way the internet says is the right way for you or not. Let's now talk about extroverts. So extroverts are people who have a tendency to connect to other people. They don't keep their feelings to themselves, they don't think much, they just go for whatever comes in their heart and mind, and they do not take time to open up. But extroverts do face a major problem in, I would say that if you go to a beach and you're a very people person who enjoy, coming up across to people, talking to strangers, sometimes you do not enjoy your solo time that much. It also comes to mean that at the end, when you're traveling solo, you're not solo at all. If anybody says that they are traveling solo and they are forever traveling solo, that's just not possible, because the world is full of people and you will eventually meet people on the road who are going to be your new friends or new partners, or people who are just acquaintances who love to travel across, who love to guide you, and you wouldn't be traveling solo. So nobody travels solo. It's just a very unique concept. It could just be a concept when you're walking through a tunnel and you see people are traveling solo and they're saying they're traveling solo, but there are so many people around, so you can't travel solo because the world is not zero population. So introverts are generally people who keep their feelings to themselves. They do not generally open up the way extroverts open up. I think that's a better way of saying it, but they generally do not open the way. But they do find a lot of comfort when they're traveling solo, in a sense that they have a way to engage in themselves and make themselves happy. They are in their own little space and they kind of grow up with the experience. So introverts find solo traveling quite nice because they can go to a beach, read a book, they can write about it, they can actually, they can do a lot of other things. They can go solo trekking in mountains, they can sit at a place and enjoy. There are so many things which an introvert can do, and they're very, very popular on social media. Anyways, so that's introvert and extrovert. Third is religious historical. Now, I'm not a religious person, but I sometimes do like going to temple as long as it's beautiful and nice and everything. But if it's not, then I do not attach, I could not relate to religious significance that temple has. Many people are religious, they do believe in God. I do believe in God, but I don't believe in portrayal of God in that form, and so I could not relate. But I do take pictures like everybody else. But yeah, so if you are a religious traveler, you might like going to those places. Historical. Now, many of the folks don't like history. I personally don't like history. I like historical things. I like forts. I like to hear about battles, a little bit here and there, but not really going into so much detail that it's gonna bundle up my mind. I do write about it on my blog though, but trust me guys, it's just not my thing. So these are the 4 personality factors, and there are many other personality factors which influences the way you travel. One of which also is, do you like compromising on your comfort level when you're traveling? Hostel traveling is good. Renting an apartment is also good. Couch surfing is also good. But if you're an introvert and if you don't like listening to sounds, probably you like an Airbnb, or probably you like a hotel, or probably a lot of other things. If you're an extrovert and you're okay with the noise, you're okay with staying with a lot of people, probably couch surfing in hostels. That depends on your choice. So the second thing that influences your way of traveling solo and is a perfect deciding factor, and many of you would agree to that because I do get a lot of mails which ask me the very question, is consent or approval. So consent or approval from your parents, from your boss, from your, I don't know, teachers, from husband, wife, sister, brother, consent. Now, let me get you this very clear. It all depends on the way you convince people, and it all depends on if you really want to travel solo. If you think that the way you or your partner travel is very different and you want to go your own way, please do. There's nobody who's going to catch hold of your neck and say don't. But you have to do a lot of convincing and convince them that it's safe for you and you really want to do it. That comes with a lot of willpower. That comes with a lot of drama. So let me tell you about me. My parents weren't ready for me to travel solo. There were a lot of friction and I had to go through that phase. Everybody else is really scared of going to that phase. You have to convince a lot of people in your life. If you want to travel the way you want to travel, then you're not 18. You're not a 18-month-old baby. And as long as you're grown up enough and you have adequate reasons to prove that you'd be fine, people generally do not have any problems. The other thing about consent is, many a times it happens that the situation in your life is not so favorable to convince your partner or to convince your parents. You're not in a hurry. Nobody is in a hurry. The internet is not shutting down today, tomorrow. Build up the funds, build up the confidence, and a year, 2 years, 3 years, down the line, anytime, you can go and fulfill your need to travel solo. Many times it happens, your friends wouldn't agree to going to a place because they might just not have leaves, their wives would be sick, this happened, that happened, they wouldn't get leaves, a lot of other things. But you do not have to be so dependent on other people because you yourself are capable enough to make your own choices. It's just the way you see it. You should have a lot of, it's just the way, like, you know, when we were kids and we would go and play and our mom and dad would say, don't play so much because it's going to impact your studies. What you do is you study more so that you get more play time. So that's how it is going to be. Do good work. Be a good husband, be a good child, be a good son, be a good daughter so that you get the independence of traveling solo and you take that consent from your parents. You do not have to run away to travel solo, of course. So the third factor which I want to discuss is budget. Now, I know many of you write that you do not have sufficient budget to travel. How much do you think your budget should be? That's the very first question that comes with the next topic which I'm going to discuss is planning. Now, budget is something which is depending on how you want to travel. You can decide, you can plan. But it also means that it depends on your choices in life. Again, it comes back, it's a circle. So many of us, it's not wrong to say that you want your life secure. Many of us are futuristic enough to see their life secure, and it also should be that way. Because you cannot always travel and have a very secure and safe and, you know, the kind of security that we have grown up with life. Let's be practical. Let me tell you this very fact that can make you think, why should you travel solo? Because traveling solo is great, But if you're traveling in a group, the budget gets divided. So let's say if you're traveling for 1 lakh and if you're 4 people, then your budget would be 70, 50, depending on the ways you travel, or even less, because your budget would be divided at every stage. You could take an apartment, you could cook for yourself. So why would you want to travel solo is the question. Well, it all depends on what you want to do. If you have nobody to agree with and you still want to have a solo time, enjoy your solitude, just go for it. Save for quite 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. If you have sufficient salary, if you work in an IT company, you wouldn't even need saving for that many months, probably like 5-6 months. And you could actually go for a trip to Europe and for a longer time. It's not that difficult. It all depends on the ways you travel. So just not look at the packages which say that this is the constraint which you have. That, you know, like so many travel companies which says that this much is the amount you have to pay if you're traveling 12 days to Europe. Not really. You can travel in the same budget for a month if you're prepared to stay in a hostel, if you're prepared to cook your own food, if you're prepared to drive, if you're prepared to do a lot of other things like to couch surfing, if you're prepared to stay with people. Fine, cool. Money is never a constraint. You have to think and plan accordingly. Money can never be a constraint. Yeah, so you got my point, right? Even if you're very, very poor, you can still plan your money and you're not in a hurry. Just keep in mind, save, collect, save, collect, save, collect. And you would eventually, if your willpower is strong enough, you would eventually go to the place you want to go. So it's not that tough. Money is never a factor. The fourth thing which I want to discuss is fear. Fear. Yeah, exactly. So many of us do not travel solo is because of the fear inside us. The fear of the outside world, the fear of the people who are bad, good, ugly, people who can take advantage of us. We are sweet people, at least I'm a very sweet person. And there are people who are willing to take advantage of you, even if you're in India or in US or in UK or anywhere in the world. But if it didn't stop you to travel to your school, or if it didn't stop you to go to the railway station, it shouldn't be stopping you to going to any other place. There are different kind of fears people have. So one fear is fear of height, fear of planes, water phobia, I don't know what's it's called, but yeah, fear of water, fear of cockroaches, claustrophobia. There are so many phobias people have. Solo travel can bring up the confidence level in you. You can challenge your own fears without having to justify anybody else. But if you really feel uncomfortable challenging your own fears, and if it is leading to any health problems or you feel psychologically ill, probably you shouldn't be doing those things. One example I would say is of Nomadic Matt. He wrote an article recently which said that he has a fear of flying in the planes. But he is a very known world travel blogger. Everybody know Nomadic Matt. He travels all across the world. He has great articles on his site. What didn't stop him traveling is overcoming his fear and his passion for travel, and not just think that I'm so scared of traveling in a plane. Many people are scared of traveling in a plane. So yeah, it's not unusual to have these fears, but you should know how to overcome these fears, and it's not that difficult, because if you are confident enough within yourself, you will show it to the world. Even if you are in unpleasant situations which might arise if you're traveling solo, I wouldn't confidently say that nothing bad can happen to you. It isn't that nothing bad, I can say that nothing bad will actually happen to you. It can or it cannot. It's all destiny. But if it does, you have to decide how to take care of the situation rather than panic. And you have to know, you have to be very prepared of the same thing. If you feel from inside that you're not at all prepared, then probably you should get yourself prepared before even stepping to the idea of solo travel. So let's just begin with your locality. Let's just go to a place which is near to your state. Let's just go to any place which is near to your place first, and then stepping on the boundary and going to any place you want to in the world. Because the world, I believe, is beautiful. There are beautiful people. There are all kinds of people. Beautiful, kind, ugly, rough, rude, immature, mature. All kinds of people in the world, but that shouldn't stop you from traveling, and that shouldn't be the reason. That can be one of the reasons which you say that you want to overcome your fear, and that's why you want to go and travel solo. There are so many kind of fear which you have internally which you wouldn't realize is, I have a fear of loss. I'm really scared of losing people. So I go to places to kind of calm myself down and say, no, nobody's going away, nothing is going to happen. So yeah, your own internal fears, and you kind of accepting those fears when you travel the world. So yeah, just make this very clear. If you're traveling solo for the first time, you would be nervous. So just don't get scared with the idea of nervousness, that you're not meant for it. You can travel again and again, and then you'll get used to the idea. What I want to talk about is change. I know nobody talks about change because it comes eventually when you travel. Change. Okay, so let's begin with something very basic. You're born and brought up in a place. Maybe you've stayed in that place for throughout your life. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you've been traveling with your parents. Whatever it is, travel is change. And unless you're comfortable with the idea of change, you shouldn't be traveling solo at all. Why would I say so is because unless you want to be comfortable with the idea of change. So change isn't a lot of things. So you go to a new place, you have new water, new food, you have a lot of other things which is there in front of you, and that's change. You have to get accustomed to everything new. Maybe everything you knew before just wouldn't suffice for what you have to do now, and you have to be very willing to go to that culture to accommodate. So that helps you push forward with your self-limiting beliefs, and you come out very open-minded. You come out with, okay, fine. Earlier maybe you used to be very conservative, and you would see two people, you know, getting intimate with each other, and you think, oh my God, this is how it happens here. And then you go to a new country which is so open, that everybody is so open, and you'd be like, fine, it's not that bad. Maybe earlier you think that gays are like this or that, and then you go to a new country and you find a new gay friend, so maybe it's not that bad. So nothing is bad in the world. It changes you for the better. Travel changes you for the better. And solo traveling is a matter of your choice. If you think you're comfortable traveling in a group, do so. That's it for today. I don't want to discuss anymore and bore you. I know it's been a long video. I wanted to make a very short 2-minute video, but there were so many things I wanted to discuss that it just wasn't possible. So if you did like my video, and if you want to discuss anything about any part of your traveling solo, any hindrance, anywhere you want to go, probably you can just mail me at ankionthemove@gmail.com, and I will put it up as a request in my next video, and we'll be discussing the same. Thank you so much, and hey, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share my video with your friends, because I know I'm such a cute girl.